February was just over 10K, yeah, $10.4. I felt really supported. You guys are there. Like, this is step one, step two, step three. I'm working, but it's also nice to have the freedom to sort of, do the things that I enjoy as well.
All right, welcome back to the channel. Max Tornow here. I'm here with one of our clients, Jacob Evans, who does drum coaching, and he's cracked his first $10,000 month. Congratulations on that side. And I asked him to talk a little bit about his experience with our program, his success story, to share that with you here so you can get inspired as well and you can see, hey, how is this possible to teach an instrument online and make literal 5 figures a month with that? So Jacob, appreciate your time. Thanks for tuning in. How much exactly did you make last month?
February was just over 10K, yeah, 10.4 US dollars.
Nice. Fantastic, man. Congrats.
Thanks.
What city are you in?
I'm living in London right now, but originally from Australia.
Oh, man. That's why I always try to pinpoint your accent. I'm like, what? Okay. So that's fantastic. And you're teaching your clients how to play drums a little bit more effortlessly with more groove. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. So I mainly teach sort of more intermediate drummers, so drummers that have a little bit more experience, but basically, yeah, playing with more flow and fluidity and creative freedom around the kit and just kind of break through to that sort of more advanced level.
Yeah. And here's the kicker. That's the best point. How many of your clients have you met in person?
Almost none. Like, most of them are online. I do have actually one student here in London, but yeah, it's like all of it's online, which is yeah, almost unheard of, especially prior to the pandemic and all that stuff.
Yeah, and that's really, really amazing. That's your music teaching niche is one of the niches that profited hugely from the pandemic and the lockdown, because every single person that went to music school, went to see their teacher in person, all of a sudden they were like, hey, I still have this passion, I still want to learn my instrument, but I can't meet anybody in person. And then all of a sudden, the rise of the online coaches, other niches similarly to that are language coaching as well as fitness coaching, at least in the B2C market, that are profiting immensely from this lockdown, which, by the way, people ask me how long I think this is going to last. Well, 2021 is definitely still going to be locked down, might even be until 2022. So you have an easy year of making, having a very, very comfortable, and probably after that too, that's the point too. A lot of these people are waking up to the idea of being taught online, and they're like, this is much more convenient than going, packing up my instrument and going to my teacher each and every week for each and every lesson. So I think this has been on the rise now and will only continue to rise. So if I may ask you, how exactly are you teaching your clients? Like, you're sitting there on your drums with a Skype connection and then the student as well, or?
Well, that's kind of what's interesting. I think one of the challenges that you mentioned of like moving online with an instrument, something that I was initially certainly concerned about, but I actually find like most of the sessions I have with my clients, like, we're just talking. And the main reason is I found because I'm far more concerned with what they're doing in the practice room, sort of in between the sessions, and giving them feedback in that respect, so it's much less about me sort of like demonstrating things. And of course, if I need to, I can do that, but it's mainly, I'd be much more sort of client focused with like, I'm much more interested in what they're doing and what they're playing. So yeah, it's actually been really simple, like just a straight up Zoom call like this. It's pretty straightforward.
Love it. That's cool. And, did you teach drums before you joined our program, or what was your before situation?
Yeah, it's interesting. Before, so I've always been a musician, like straight out of high school, studied music, and I was working freelance for years. And I'd always been teaching a little bit. It's a bit of a, it's pretty common, like most musicians, as well as gigging and working and stuff, you're also teaching a bit. But before I started with you guys, I was actually working on a cruise ship. I was doing a couple of contracts, playing drums on ships. And I remember this because I had the first consultation call with you. I was in St. Martin in the Caribbean, and I was at this like dodgy cafe, like on the pier, like on my laptop, like doing the call, and like And it was mainly because I wanted to stop doing the ship work. It's kind of, it's a bit of a grind. It doesn't pay all that well, so my plan was to move to London. And I wanted to, basically set things up right and teach, do some more teaching. So I'd always kind of done it. But obviously working with you guys, it was really great because it kind of set me up for what I didn't know was coming, which is the pandemic. So I basically left ships, came to London, and after being here for about 6 months, then everything just went to hell. And just really...
The timing, if I think about it, cruise ships are the thing that is going to be closed now for years.
Yeah, so for sure.
That was literally perfect timing. Like you would sit here right now without an income, without a job. That's out of your control too. Like they're basically like, yeah, cruise ships are done. And this would have just been taken away from you. And I never thought about it, but now that you say it, like such a good timing for you to come on board, and now you're chilling here, even higher income than before probably, and you're having it safer, like unless they turn off the internet,
Fantastic. Exactly.
Well, I'm happy for you, man. I'm happy. And here's the thing, and this is something that especially in your niche is so prevalent, this whole idea of like, what do you charge per hour type of situation. We see this time and time again, that people that have an instrument, that know that and that teach that, they charge per hour, and that $50 an hour, $100 an hour. And here you are charging for an end result, making literally $10,000 a month. How was it helpful for you in our program to learn about that, or did you kind of know about that before?
Yeah, it's hard to know where to start with like what the program did for me, but like obviously the business side of things, like all that, the structure and the pricing and charging for an end result, I think it does two things. And I've been thinking about this. Like obviously it's better for the client because you're committed to delivering a result, and you're right. In my niche and in my industry, it's almost unheard of. Like everyone charges hourly, and
yep.
It took a bit of getting used to, a bit of a mindset shift for me. But what it also did was it made me a much better teacher, because suddenly I'm leveraged to produce this result for someone else. And, I was really blown away. Working with you guys has been great. And obviously all the business side of things, like the back end and the sales and the marketing and all that stuff is fantastic. But also, like, I was really blown away by the actual consultation, like the consulting modules of like actually teaching how to teach, and like I mentioned before, I've been teaching for a long time, but like it was just like so clear, and like identifying people's bottlenecks and like delivering that result. And I've sort of been really blown away by like just how positive an experience all of this is. Like charging properly, charging for a result. It's better for them. It's better for me.
Yeah.
And I have clients that I've been working with for over a year, like people that like because they're getting the results, so that they just want to keep going and they want to keep doing it more, and
love it.
It's just great.
Let's talk about that too, because we're like, oh yeah, okay, Jacob Evans is probably one of the best paid drum coaches out there in this, at least in this sub niche. But let's talk about the client side as well, because to be honest, nobody really profits from an hourly session with someone really. What someone profits from as a client, as your client, is having continuous touch points with someone who accompanies them over a longer period of time. And like you said so nicely, to work towards a specific end result. So tell us more a little bit about the type of results that you enable your clients to get with that superior form of consulting or coaching for drums.
Sure. I think specifically with my niche, what happens is, drummers, like, or musicians just in general, they go through all the beginner stuff, right? And there's a million things out there of like getting started with the drums or whatever. And it's straightforward. But you reach this point, where it's kind of like, all right, you've done all the beginner stuff, you've done all that. And there's a definite gap between, those kind of more intermediate people and like advanced players, like myself.
Yeah.
Like I'm a career musician and I've been, playing forever, but I think that the key is like communicating to my clients that like there is a path there. It's really common in my niche that it's like, oh, like this guy's really talented, or he was born with drumsticks in his hand, and it's like it's just not like that. It's like that, and so then my job becomes sort of backwards engineering those steps to bring the client to that point,
Mm-hmm.
and when it's sequential like that, and it has a structure and it has an order, then it's really easy for the client to see the progress that they're making, and really moving towards the goal. Did that answer the question?
Yeah, that answered it perfectly.
Okay. Sorry, I was just like thinking, yeah.
No, I mean, that's exactly it. And I love that you said that. Now, usually what we do is we always ask, do you need a big social media following, yes or no? Now, in your case, you've always scratched the 10K month mark so closely. And that's why we didn't have an interview before. Because I always want to have someone that cracks 10K before I get them on an interview, right? But you were always so close over like several months. I remember months ago we already talked about it. Man, just a little bit more and you cracked 10K. And obviously you've jumped on the advanced program before together with us. If we may show you Instagram, I'd love to do so.
Definitely, yeah.
Let me check your Instagram. We're going to edit it down below here as well. Jacob Evans. I found you already. Jacob Evans Drums. You right now have 8,000 followers. That's actually pretty good. That's definitely on the higher end of what most of our 5-figure clients are getting. Again, you've been in the advanced program where we teach you how to build a brand, grow the brand, get more engagement, grow organically, and also with paid advertising and so on and so forth. What about your YouTube? How many subscribers do you have on YouTube?
It's doing all right, actually. It's like I got a mighty 1,000 subscribers. I think I just cracked the 1K mark.
Nice. So, yeah, really, before you get there, Jacob is an amazing drummer. If you want to learn drums from a pro, go follow him on Instagram, go send him a DM or check out his channel. Highly recommend you. I drum a little bit as an amateur, like stupid level. I can play AC/DC songs, but let's put it that way. And I always look at your stuff, I'm like, damn, so good. Really inspiring. But anyways, where were you before we started doing the branding? How much did you make on average a month? Do you remember?
Oh, from the coaching?
Yeah, before you had the brand on YouTube, the channel, and so on and so forth.
I was still doing pretty well. Like I was averaging kind of 3, 4, 5K months. Yeah, like the branding thing is really, one thing I learned just working with you guys is it just doesn't matter. It's like before, like I said, when coming from the ships and when I started working with you guys, I really was open to, because I knew I wanted to get business mentoring from someone who was not a musician. I knew that for sure. And what that meant was I was like totally open to whatever the process was. And from the beginning, you guys were just like, you don't need, Instagram, you don't need social media, you don't need anything like that. And I think really understanding that it just comes down to understanding who you're trying to reach and what the audience is, and then communicating, like being able to communicate, what you can deliver and understanding their problems. And yeah, it's like you just don't need any of that stuff, like for sure.
Love it. Love it. Yeah, I mean, I've been preaching this. It's for 2 years now. Social media, not necessary to crack your first 10K. We have plenty of other client interviews here on this channel that prove that as well. And then obviously, like I said, like we've gotten you on board with the advanced program, which means you've built a little bit of a branding already. And that branding itself is highly lucrative. I mean, you're making more with your 1,000 subscriber YouTube channel than some other channels out there with hundreds of thousands. Now you've mentioned a couple lessons already that you've gotten through our FBM program. Is there any like one biggest lesson that you haven't mentioned yet where you said like that's the more key takeaway?
Yeah, I think again, it kind of just continues from the positivity of the whole process, but just really understanding that like the money, once I started making, what is good money for me, it's like you start thinking about the other sort of driving factors. And I think that the biggest lesson that I've learned is like, when you understand your audience and like you understand how to communicate with them, and then, how fulfilling it is to actually really help people, the money is just a means to facilitating that more. It's like, I don't even really think about that so much anymore. It's just like, whenever I'm speaking to a prospective client or student, I'm just like, I just get excited about like when they're telling me their problems, and I'm like, dude, like, I know how to fix this for you. And
love it.
So yeah, it's just been like really fulfilling from that aspect, and having you guys just kind of really, really care about it. Like really, I felt really supported, and like, just really like you guys are there. Like, this is step 1, step 2, step 3, and you just do it, and then it's overall just like really, really positive.
That's wonderful, man. Thanks for the great feedback. I love it. I always love hearing that, it's really cool that, to be able to be part of this, and to also hear that it's less about the money, it's more about pouring the money back into your mission to help more people, to teach drums on such a better level than the traditional way of teaching it. And that makes me very, very proud and happy as well. I think we're going to slowly wrap things up now. I only have one more question. So what does your daily life look like? An average day in Jacob Evans' drum coaching life?
Well, I mean, I work for myself, so that's pretty cool. And I sort of get up whenever. And no, but it's a really nice combination of, working on the business, working on kind of, like getting more clients and reaching out to people, but also, like now I'm working on some branding stuff, like shooting videos, doing some editing. And it's a really nice kind of mixed bag of work that's interesting enough to sort of keep me engaged. And then, obviously right now, like there's no gigs happening, so I'm not like playing as much as normal. But one thing that this has really allowed me to do is, I don't have to do like gigs that I don't want to do or anything like that. So it's good. Like my days are pretty, I'm working, but it's also nice to have the freedom to sort of take a day off or do the things that I enjoy as well.
Love it. Hey, sounds like a really damn fulfilling life to me. And Jacob, thanks so much. Really, really appreciate that. Really proud of you. Next steps are obviously going to be scaling you to 25K a month, helping you with your first key hires, scale the paid advertising, keep pushing the brand, and so on and so forth. Easy peasy from my side. Stay on the line real quick, because if your dear viewer are watching this and you say, hey, this inspires me, maybe you have a similar skill or a similar type of niche that you want to be successful in, and you're a little bit surprised now that it's even possible to make 5 figures a month with the skill that you have, and you also want to become successful as an online coach or a consultant or an agency, then go ahead and book a free consulting call with us right now. There's a link down in the description below, or the link that appears somewhere here right now. You click on that link, it brings you to a page, fill out the application on that page, right? And then it takes maybe 2 minutes to fill that application out, and then you can book the exact date and time where you want us to call you. I'm going to tell you right away on that call, number 1, you'll be talking to a real person, not some automated bot funnel or whatsoever. And number 2, we'll only be talking about implementable steps, all right? This is not going to be some watered down general information, mainstream BS. We will be talking about only things that actually get you results, that actually help you monetize your skill. This is the exact call and Jacob here has had that has gotten him started with his own online coaching business. This is the exact call that each and every one of our successful clients has jumped on initially. That's the very first step for you. So book that free consulting call now. I want to thank you very much for watching, and I'll talk to you soon.